The takeaway that I think we could all have from that is that the edging is always better than the nut itself.
Oh God. I'm not even gonna comment on that. I'm not gonna give that the time of day. Hey folks, it's been a minute. But I'm finally back and I have a topic that I thought of that we can talk about because I've desperately wanted to get back into this. Um, I guess that the one thing I should mention is like, sorry for being gone. I got an injury in February that prevented me from like doing this sort of thing, and then as soon as I started getting better, my PC broke. So I have a new PC. It's a lot nicer, but that's why we were gone for a bit, and we're back now. And joining me for the grand return of this little shebang that we do is Ian.
What's up, everybody? This is Master Ian Gamer, and welcome to Astro's podcast. We're
Yay!
back.
Big Brain Boogaloo is back.
Forgot that's what it was called.
That is what it's called. Have I ever told you the story of how that name came about?
I feel like you have, but for the listeners, why don't you retell it?
Oh boy. This is some deep lore. So, way back when, in 2019, there was a podcast with a somewhat infamous figure in the Overwatch community that our friend Zek did. Basically, they did a podcast together, and the name of that podcast was Toxic Boogaloo, and initially, the idea behind this podcast, because I started it with Zek, was that it would be a sort of successor to that podcast, because it ultimately ended kind of going down in like a blaze of not so glory. So that was kind of the origin of the name, because we wanted to have a sense of continuation, but like it's not like anyone remembers the podcast, and it's not like, it's not like we have thousands of people tuning into this one. So I guess it's sort of my own inside joke at this point, but that's the origin of it.
Well, there you go.
There you go. It's not that interesting. I'm trying to remember who suggested the name. I think it was Zach. But yeah. So that's the origin of the name. Anyways, getting on topic of what we're actually going to talk about today. Today we are talking about the state of multiplayer games, just kind of generally, like online multiplayer games, especially like free-to-play games. Ian on his live stream has mentioned a few times that he has some thoughts on this, and I was sitting around like, okay, I need an idea, but like I don't feel like I'm qualified enough at this point to be like talking entirely about Overwatch, because like it's been a hot minute since I like really played Overwatch, and so we figured this would be a good topic. So I suppose I will open the floor to you, Ian, and just kind of give the opening basic thoughts on what's going on.
Games, they are a changin'. We're not in the early 2000s glory days of gamers being this subset of society who has to, scrounge for any semblance of community and, always getting excited over E3 because it's the big and only gaming event that'll ever happen during the year. gaming has become much more of like a widespread thing. Everybody's a gamer in one fashion or another, and that's not even getting onto like mobile games because
Yeah, I was
like
gonna say
I don't know if we even want to touch on mobile games in
no,
this because that is such a big beast in and of itself that I personally have virtually no experience with. I don't know about you, Astro.
nope. I don't play any mobile games except for like
Okay.
Gwent.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna touch on mobile gaming, but in terms of like console and PC gaming, it's become far more widespread and common that people, play games. It's grown bigger. And I think because of that, we've seen a big shift in the way games are sort of developed and presented and released and just the the state of being a gamer and playing games I think has changed a lot. And personally, I've found myself more detached from it than ever before. And I'm not really sure how much of that is just a natural byproduct of me like growing up and then getting older. Like, is it just because of my age that I'm like this? Or is it genuinely gaming has evolved into something that I'm not as involved or interested in anymore? I don't know. It could very well be a mix of the both. But it does feel like games just aren't an exciting, interesting thing in a lot of ways. They feel more like products.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know, like the idea of like games as art, I feel like is sort of falling by the wayside, but is thankfully kind of being preserved in like indie games.
and
I do
single
think
player
that the state
games.
of well, even single player games, I don't know how many of those are necessarily art in this day and age, but like I do think indie games are sort of the preservation of games as art.
Yeah, I
Um,
can agree with that. I mean, I would personally vouch for like the Soulsborne games, like Xenoblade, like those,
mhm.
The Witcher. Those are definitely, I would
But
definitely
even
consider those art. But yeah,
yes, but I also wouldn't consider those modern games. Is the other thing because how old those games are at least half a decade old.
let me think. Well, obviously, yeah, Dark Souls 1, 2011, Dark Souls 2, 2014, Bloodborne, 2015, Dark Souls 3, 2016, Sekiro, 2019, Elden Ring, 2021, I think.
I feel like Elden Ring is like the most recent game of that
Yeah,
nature.
it is.
Baldur's Gate, I guess, would be another example of a more recent game that
And that's online. That's multiplayer.
sure, but like it's not like an Overwatch type
Yeah, no, no,
multiplayer
I
game.
agree. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, and then you have, well, as for Xenoblade 1 was 2010, X was 2014, 2 was 2017, and 3 was 2022. Um, so, yeah. And then, obviously, The Witcher 3 came out in 2015, like, you know, the big one. Um, so yeah, I mean, you're right. It basically, except for Elden Ring and Xenoblade 3, it's been over half a decade, for sure. But I mean,
Right.
I still feel like that's not. I still feel like they're applicable, though. Or like, another series I could use in it as an example is like the Yakuza Like a Dragon series. Like, I would say that those games are not. They're not quite as like highbrow, dare I say. Um, Not that any of the games that I just listed are you know pretentious, but it's definitely Yakuza Like a Dragon. Like that series definitely doesn't take itself as seriously. So I feel like that's different, but yeah, you're right. I think the last 5 years have been transformative in a sense. I think the issue that you and I run into is that we haven't really played many games released in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and I think that's I think getting to it. Like for me personally, I was trying to think about this leading up to this episode. Why haven't I played any games in the past 5 years that aren't Overwatch or Fortnite?
And
And I don't know what the answer is, unfortunately. Again, I can't tell if it's just me naturally aging out of video games or if it's games aren't what they used to be, or is it like a more relative type thing where it's like no matter what games were originally when I was a kid, you always reach that point where it's like, oh, kids these days,
right.
things these days with their TikToks, it's like is it the old man effect? Or is it me just growing up as a person? Or is it that things are actually worse?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that for me personally, um, I think I think that if we're going to talk about specifically Overwatch, because that's the game that we both play, I would say that it's a mix of the kids these days and the I think things are just genuinely worse effect. I wouldn't say that my tastes have changed. I would note that I have a backlog of games, which is something that never used to happen because, quite frankly, I don't play a large variety of games. Like, I have a few series that I play basically religiously, and I don't venture outside of them very often. So, I need to play Elden Ring Night Rain. I haven't touched the Elden Ring DLC, which sounds crazy to say because I've heard it's incredible. But yeah, it's just sort of I feel like what happens with me personally is like I honestly just forget they exist. I just forget these new games exist. Because to me, it's still 2021. It's still 2019. Like it's like let's be honest, COVID temporally fucked all of us. So it's it feels to me like Elden Ring is just what do you mean there's a DLC? Like that's what it's like for me. Even though I literally have it installed on my PC, I just forget it exists. And I need to play it because I've heard it's amazing, but I sit here and I'm like, "Oh, I have some time to play video games." I finished my homework and classes are done for the day. So I'm like, "Oh, I'll play a video game. What do I want to play?" And I look at my desktop here, and what do I have? I have the Dark Souls trilogy. I have Elden Ring. I have Deep Rock Galactic, Halo, the Master Chief Collection, the Yakuza 8. I have Space Engine, Crusader Kings 3, Stellaris, The Witcher 3, and yeah, that's it. So I look at this and I go, well, every day is a good day for Stellaris, or like every day is a good day for Deep Rock Galactic, or some days are good days for Halo. And I keep playing the same games over and over again to the point that like I forget that the other ones are there. Which I mean, frankly, I need to stop doing that. But yeah, I would say that's. I feel like what has happened is that in my mind, time has stopped. Like, it is. The games industry is frozen in time at 2021. And it's really hard. It's hard to explain this. Because, like, my life has gotten crazy. Like, not necessarily in a bad way, but, like, I'm a lot more busy than I used to be. Not necessarily in, like, oh, I'm so busy, It's just sort of like, this is school. Like, this is just how university goes, I'm increasing my course load, and I've been doing this for 6 years. I need the damn bachelor's degree. So it's weird. It feels like time has stopped and no new games come out. And so I've just been playing the same, like, 3 comfort games because I just need something that I know that is relaxing. Which hilariously does include games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls for me, like, or Sekiro or Elden Ring. Like, those are relaxing games to me, which I know a lot of people find kind of wild. But, like, booting up Dark Souls 3 and, like, getting my shit kicked in, even though I've played this game like 16 times, that's comfort. You know, I'm like, oh, yep, Slave Knight Gale just kicked my ass again. It feels good. I say, despite knowing that I'm actually quite good at these games, I zone out a lot of the time. I've beaten Dark Souls 3 with fists, no weapon. I was just like, you know, it'd be funny if I beat Dark Souls 3 weaponless and I did like 6 damage per hit. It was miserable, but I did do it. Yeah, so that's, I think, where I'm at. And I would say that in terms of games like Overwatch, the problem for me is I go into Overwatch and I'm like, what is this game? This is an Overwatch. What is this game now? What has happened? I boot up Overwatch and I don't get to play Overwatch anymore, which is crazy to me. But I'll kind of defer to you. I'll let you speak now because I've been yapping my ass off for like 5 minutes. But what's going on for you?
Honestly, I feel like for me it's even worse to an extent where I've genuinely asked myself, like, if I wasn't a Overwatch YouTuber and I didn't regularly stream Overwatch, would I even still be playing Overwatch?
Oh yeah, I'm sure you asked yourself that.
I'm not sure what the answer is. I'm inclined to say yes, because I still have fun playing Overwatch. But I think what probably would happen for me in my specific scenario is that it's not that I don't enjoy playing modern Overwatch. I certainly do. But it would fall by the wayside of other projects and interests of mine.
Right, you have the whole Suki thing.
Yes. Like, if I were to... Like, when I want to just, like, relax and have fun and do a thing, video games aren't really that thing I do anymore.
Okay.
Which is strange to say, because, like, growing up, I've always seen myself as, like, a gamer, someone who likes games.
Yeah.
But I don't really do that much. And when I do, it's usually like a like a relaxing, like, city builder like type game, like something simpler.
City Skylines, something like that.
Yeah, something along those sort of lines. Like, that's what I go to now when I want to just, like, relax, because that's more relaxing than playing Overwatch.
100%. I mean, that's why I play Stellaris. It's just like, oh, Stellaris, I can pause the game whenever I want, go do something else, come back, and it's, you know, it's chill.
And, like, even so, like, I've noticed, like, a weird thing where, like, as you mentioned, Suki is the big project, which for those listening who maybe don't know, Suki is a virtual stream companion. That's what I like to call her. She
it's an AI
runs
thing.
on AI.
Yeah.
And basically functions as a stream co-host, but uses AI to automate the functionality.
Yeah.
And, like, everything revolving around that project, I just find so much more interesting and satisfying and worthwhile to work on than playing a video game.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand that because, you know, in all these years I've known you, whether you realize it or not, I've been like, Ian is, like, kind of too creative of a guy to be doing this, like, just playing video games all the time. So, like, to an extent, I think I always expected that this might happen, but admittedly, I never expected it would happen with, like, a chatbot.
It's an interesting manifestation for sure. That is interesting you say that, because I very much agree that, like, now that I'm actually like diving into this as like a large scale project I spend a lot of my time working on, it does feel like this is what I wanted to do all along when I became a YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean, your early the stuff you got famous for initially was your hero concepts. That's very
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah, I mean, coming up with characters and abilities and stuff like that. But, that in that context, it was annoying because it was restricted by the confines of what could be an Overwatch hero,
Yep.
which is an incredibly restrictive parameter to work with, which is why I ultimately kind of gave up on that, because it was really hard and didn't have great returns, so to say, particularly in like, just like as like making videos that get a lot of views and you get like ad revenue.
Especially since you were just starting out, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great for that because they took a long time to make. They were extremely difficult to market in terms of like, how do I sell this? Like, oh, do I say like new hero concept? Everyone sees concept and they just instantly tune out. So you got to like push the idea of like teasing, oh, is this a new hero that's going to get added? Like, obviously not.
Which feels disingenuous,
like,
yeah.
Right. And like just I would call it the marketing. I don't know if that would really be the correct term in this scenario. The marketing around these things and the presentation of those hero concepts was very frustrating and difficult and kind of just bogged down the whole thing. Because it's like, okay, I make a cool character that I'm satisfied with and I think is fun, just on a conceptual level, not even like, oh, they should add it to the game, just as like, oh, a what if type thing. But then there's no way to really like communicate that idea effectively to an audience of people.
Right.
Like that was like the issue that sort of hampered it, where it was like, I don't think this really has like much potential going forward, which is largely why I sort of gave up on it, because it ended up feeling like a time and energy sink, basically.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can sort of relate to it, because I mean, think about it. What was like my whole thing initially, right? It was like, what could a Bastion rework be like, right? That was my whole thing for years, and I spent so much time like just trying to make like a video or a series of videos that would adequately explain and present the ideas that I had for a theoretical rework for the character. And, there was a time when I was working with Zek to make a workshop project, like a presentation on it. And it honestly got to the point where I realized, like, I have like 200 subscribers. Like, nobody's going to see this anyways. Like, what am I doing? Because obviously I am someone who I'm not against like a passion project that 6 people will see, right? Like, there's a sense of satisfaction just doing it. But when the idea is like, when you're advocating for something, like, obviously when you advocate for something, you're trying to get people to see it. It's not satisfying when the idea is specifically to send a message, because that's just the nature of it, right? A message sent out into the void that nobody will hear is not like it's not satisfying, even if you worked hard to make that. So I understand where you're coming from. It's a difficult situation because I think the nature of YouTube, especially within like the last decade or so, has not been incentivizing like super high effort creativity. It's like, especially in these last especially since COVID, like the things that are rewarded are like hyper consistent, kind of repetitive. I'm not gonna say slop, because I think that most people, what they put into it, there is like a sense of like, I want to make this something that has some sort of meaning. So I wouldn't call it just slop, but that seems to be the incentive. And I think that inherently limits how much reward there is for these sorts of projects, especially if you're not very big.
Absolutely. And that's something I am running into right now with my Suki project, which is that like I am personally very satisfied and entertained and invested and interested, whatever words you want to use, for like with this project just as like a personal type thing.
Yeah.
But like marketing it again is very difficult, which is why I'm trying to sort of have it like as a component latched onto my existing Overwatch brand,
Yep.
where I'm streaming Overwatch, but Suki's there. Because that's like the best way to get, again, it's so like businessy, and I hate talking about things in such a businessy context, but this is how you get the product in front of an audience.
Yep. No, you're right.
And like, that's not even that I'm trying to sell you like Suki to make money. It's just, here's this thing I made. I think it's cool. I am proud of it. I think there is value in it, but it is difficult to get other people to see that. How do I get people to see that? I feature it in the thing that already has an audience that I do. That is basically how that goes. And I'm just thinking how far off topic we've gotten at this point. But
yeah, I know. I mean, that's how this always happens.
It's just in terms of like my own interests. I think, the creativity aspect is again a facet that I do wonder again, is it just me? Am I the one who doesn't enjoy video games because they're not creatively satisfying to me?
Mm-hmm.
Versus games now are actually worse than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever.
Yeah. No, I understand. And I mean, to just touch on your channel one last time, I'm going to be honest with you, I think you also did kind of put yourself into hard mode, specifically with having an AI, because a lot of people are going to instantly be off-put by that. I think you did somewhat put yourself on hard mode. But I mean, you obviously love it, and like, I can't criticize you for that. But like, you absolutely picked a hard thing to get people to be like excited for, I feel like.
It is extremely challenging. Honestly, we could do an entire episode talking about that challenge, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but it is extremely difficult because the natural response to basically anyone who tunes in, it's like it feels so manipulative, but at the same time, like, it's genuinely the best for all parties type approach, where it's like, if I can sell you on Suki before you realize she's an AI, then like, I win, you win, Suki wins. Like,
is that why she still wigs me out a little bit? Because I'm like, I know exactly what Ian has been doing behind the scenes with this thing. Is that why?
I mean, maybe. What exactly do you mean behind the scenes?
Like, just, you talk a lot, just like, even outside of stream, just like, in the friend group, you talk about Suki, and I'm like, okay, I understand broadly what he's doing. So, it's sort of like, to me, I watch your streams, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how the project is going. I don't tune in, and I'm like, oh, what's this? You know, what's the story behind this? I know what you're doing.
Yeah, sure.
I think you've done a good job with her on making her not too uncanny. But as you've said, like, this is a episode in of itself. We could do a whole episode. About
I mean,
Suki.
if you're interested, we could do a whole about Suki.
Yeah.
That'd actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I you know, as someone who is skeptical about AI in many contexts, I think it would be very interesting to have that conversation, because like, Suki is one of those few examples where I'm like, okay, yeah, I have no problems with this. So that would be interesting. But okay, let's talk about video games on the video game podcast.
Let's get back to it.
Let's get back to it.
Maybe the best route to back into it is, for me personally, I do feel like I'm at a point in my life where I want to be doing more creative things, more things that I can look back at a week, a year, 10 years from now and be like, that was a cool thing I did. And video games just aren't that.
Yep.
I don't know if they ever were, is the other thing. Where, like, I think back to, like, 10 years ago, what games were I playing? What games were?
Was I
that's
playing?
The proper grammar. But games is plural. Which games were I playing?
No,
whatever.
It's a grammatical exception. Which games was I playing? I don't know. That's how I've always heard it. But whatever.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Look this up.
But anyways, which games was I playing that, like, now I look back at and have fond, positive memories? And, like, a lot of it was games that had good stories, like Half-Life.
Yep.
Or were particularly novel and innovative and interesting, like Minecraft. Like, back when I was playing that in earlier days. Like, those are the games I look back at and have, like, a more positive memory. Overwatch,
mixed bag.
Do I have positive memories looking back at that? And in terms of playing the game, I don't know that I do. And I don't know how much of that is because I'm still playing Overwatch.
Right.
I don't know how much of it is because of, like, the story being just nothing now, which I think is another modern trend with games. Like, Overwatch is fun, for sure. I love playing Overwatch. But is it something that 10 years after I stopped playing Overwatch, I'll look back at and be like, oh man, I love when I played Overwatch? And I don't know that it will be something like that. I think any positive memories I have will more so be my channel and the accomplishments I made with that, or the community that I've built through my channel, or friends like you.
Literally the friends we made along the way.
The social aspect of it, as opposed to the game itself.
Yeah. No, honestly, I can't say I'm in a terribly different position. Because, I mean, to me, like, Overwatch literally has been the friends we made along the way. Because I met all of you through Overwatch.
Yeah.
Honestly, I more specifically met all of you through this podcast. Which is crazy to think about. But, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, because for me, you know, I look back on Overwatch. And, you know, what was Overwatch like when I used to play Overwatch almost every single day? And the thought process I have is, I remember very clearly that I was frustrated. I was frustrated with the game. I've always been frustrated with the game. I can't remember the last time that I played Overwatch and I didn't have some part of me that was like, oh god, things are a little rough, right? Like, there has never been a time period in Overwatch's history, ever since, like, probably literally the first year of Overwatch existing, where I was like, yeah, no, it's all chill. Like, things are going well. Like, I'm having a lot of fun basically in every game. But on the other hand, I look back on it and I'm like, I had so much fun in a lot of in like a handful of games, right? Like, the game where, like, Bastion would work was so much fun. And I would look back on the game where Roadhog was working well, and I'd be like, oh, that was so much fun. Or especially Doomfist, right? Because Doomfist required so much refinement of what you were doing, even just not even just like thought process wise, but mechanically, because the way I always played Doomfist was as a, like, finger breaking rollout frame perfect lunatic that just spends half the time doing techs. And so to me, I look back on that and I think to myself, my God, I was not like a super high level Doomfist, but goddamn was I better than most of them, right? Like, I understood the techs, I knew what I was doing, and that was super rewarding. And the few games where that would work, those are genuinely very positive memories of gameplay, not just of like the social aspect, but like I look back on that and I'm like, that was a moment playing Overwatch where I have good memories. And I think the problem that I run into now is I log into Overwatch, and although Overwatch changed significantly as time went on, there's no denying that. Even within the context of Overwatch 1, Overwatch changed a lot. There were very few times in the history of Overwatch 1 where I looked at it and I was like, what is this game? Like, what is this? Like, it's... I almost never looked at it and I was like, what I am seeing on the screen is largely recognizable, but when I play the game, it doesn't feel like Overwatch. And I think the problem I run into now is that although there were periods of time where I was super frustrated with Overwatch 1 and so didn't play it, I now log into Overwatch 2 and I'm like, what is this game? What happened? I feel like I've been sent to an alternate universe where Overwatch is just a completely separate game. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not that different. It's the same core thing. But I look at it and I'm like, I would say that the breaking point for me was perks. Because I looked at that and I was like, okay, this fundamentally isn't Overwatch anymore. Because Overwatch, at least to me, was a foundational aspect of Overwatch is that every hero could do the same thing. Like, you saw, like, you were playing Roadhog, you saw the enemy Roadhog, you knew very well what that guy could do because it's exactly what you could do. And there was always something satisfying about that. That the reason why I was able to beat the other Roadhog is because I knew what I was doing. And nowadays, I log into Overwatch and, like, I play Ramatra, who I enjoy Ramatra. Honestly, I love most of the tanks they've added. Honestly, pretty much all of the tanks they've added in Overwatch 2. But now that they've added perks, I'm like, why the fuck does Ramatra have, like, a shotgun now every few seconds? What the fuck is happening? What the fuck did their Junkrat just do? Why is that Pharah moving while she ults? What is happening? It's like, it's chaos. It feels like an arcade mode. It feels inconsistent, and Overwatch was always a game about consistency to me, because everyone could do the same things. Simultaneously, everyone could do the same things. If you played one character and they played the same character, they could do all the same things that you could. And the game just became so incongruent that it doesn't feel like Overwatch anymore. And I think that is a sign of what I have a problem with the industry for at this point. Like, that is Overwatch. I feel like perks are a symptom of the problem, because to me, the thing that is killing games, multiplayer games especially, is the idea that they constantly need to be reinventing themselves. Because to me, a game that constantly needs to reinvent itself is not a game that has a good foundation. A game with a good foundation is a game that goes, I have a good foundation. This is what I offer. I know it's good. You know it's good. I don't need to change that much because it's a banger, and you know it's a banger. And we don't need to be constantly shifting things up, because why would we? And that's That's the problem I have with a lot of multiplayer games, like especially free-to-play games. It's exactly what you say. They're soulless. They're products. Like a game like Deep Rock Galactic is not a soulless product. A game like Deep Rock Galactic is a good time with friends. Overwatch doesn't feel like that anymore. At least, especially when you play solo. Overwatch feels like a bunch of shit that has been tacked and pasted together in an effort to constantly be grabbing attention instead of just going, this is Overwatch. We know that the foundation of Overwatch is amazing because the foundation of Overwatch has been amazing since 2016, and everyone, at least for a time, knew that. So we don't need to be shifting it. Overwatch doesn't do that anymore. It's constantly needing to do mythics and perks and stadium. Granted, I like stadium, but this gizmo and this gimmick and why? Like it's. I feel like I can't play the same game year to year anymore, and like that's lame.
It is lame, but it's also how they keep people playing at a large scale. And I think your comment about perks is really interesting because when they released perks, my mindset was, this is great. This is exactly what they needed to do because the game was getting stale and this is a fresh twist. However, over time, my view on perks has definitely shifted, where I don't see them as a bad thing in the way that you dislike perks. But I will say that pretty rapidly, if we were to, so imagine it's like a line or like a spectrum or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, if we're at a point, and that's Overwatch pre-perks, and that point is like stagnant, and now it's like, and the issue is that the point is stagnant. Perks gave it a spike of interest and then quickly just decayed back into stagnation, except now we have perks.
Yep. It's
like we're exactly where we started, except that we had like 4 months of like, oh, this is kind of interesting and different.
Yeah.
But now it's just decayed to the same issue it had pre-perks, which is the game feels stagnant.
Yeah, everything has to be short-term stimulation.
Yeah, because perks now functionally don't exist. And what I mean by that is you pick a hero, you play the match as Kiriko or Wrecking Ball or whoever, and then X number of minutes into the match, you bring up the perks and pick the same minor perk you picked for the past 1,000 games you've played. You wait X number additional minutes, the major perks come up and you click the same major perk you used for the past 1,000 games. Like all it does is add in 4 additional button presses per match.
That's just make everything more complicated.
It makes everything, but I don't think it even does really, because like, yes, okay, objectively it does make things more complicated, but I think for the average person, it's not actually an issue of complication. I think it's just part of the game flow now. And there are people who like that and people who don't like it, like you. But at the end of the day, it's just kicked the can down the road is all it's done. It's not anywhere new. It's different, sure, but it's not fundamentally anywhere new. It's just the same thing, but again, and we had a bit of excitement with it. And I think probably a way that perks would work better, and this is actually, I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on this one, because this is almost the inverse of what you want. You want perks gone, from my understanding of your perspective.
I want them. I want them lost to time.
I think, and I'm not going to say one is better than the other option-wise. I think Blizzard needs to double down on perks, and like every mid-season, every half a season, every single hero gets 4 brand new perks.
Oh God!
Just constantly shuffle it. So because that's the Fortnite approach of like constantly change everything.
Yeah, but that's why I don't like Fortnite either.
I mean, like, I get it. I understand why players like you would hate it.
I don't like jingling keys. I don't want keys jingled in front of my face. I want to play the fucking game.
I get it. But for a player like me, the issue is stagnation. And as someone who, streams the game and observes a lot of other people's perspective of the game, to maintain that interest, you gotta keep the keys jangling. You gotta keep mixing things up. And Blizzard, frankly, has landed in the hellish middle ground of the two extremes. They're not catering to the consistency players like you by keeping it the same forever. And they're not catering to the ADHD children who want a new color of the pixel every millisecond. They're just in the middle ground. And I don't think they're doing a good job of satisfying either, because they're not iterating fast enough the way Fortnite does to entertain the people who want something fresh every second. And they're not keeping things consistent enough for the quote-unquote boomers, I guess you could say.
The Astros of the world.
Yeah, the Astros of the world. Which is why that at this point, I would say perks in the short term were a good way to spice up the game. But at this point have just decayed to basically the state they were before, in terms of this hasn't fundamentally changed anything for the game at this point in its life, because they're not handling perks in the way that perks would ideally be handled by taking this route.
I mean, I would disagree with the idea that it hasn't fundamentally changed anything, because my exact issue is that it's fundamentally changed things. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Like they're in limbo. Like they just, it feels like the classic. It's what Overwatch feels like it's been doing for close to a decade now, or at least I would say after like 2018. Like the problem that they've had, which is like, they don't know what they want to do. And like, we've gone through so many dev teams. Like we've had the revolving door scheme, but like it never changes. And I understand that like having devs change obviously will inherently change the direction, but like it feels like even within like the time frame where there isn't an entire like the dev, it hasn't, like, the dev team has not Ship of Theseus itself. Even within like a time frame small enough like that, it feels like they just don't know exactly what they want to do. And I think the one exception to that is Stadium. I think Stadium is very much an intentional directional choice, because they've been putting so much emphasis on it. But I feel like for quote-unquote base game Overwatch, because honestly, I don't know what that even means anymore, because we have there's so many versions of Overwatch you can play now that God knows what that means. I agree. I think they have literally just found themselves sitting there like, okay, maybe the problem they're running into is that it's too evenly split. Like, if they go too far in one direction, they're going to lose too many players. But if they go too far in the other direction, they're going to lose too many players. And so they find themselves in limbo. I kind of wonder if that's the problem. Like, just from when they get statistics in, like, what it looks like. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know if it's the problem, but it certainly is a problem. And is exactly the issue that Fortnite is running into right now, where there are so many different modes and ways to play in Fortnite that like any single mode is just decaying to shit.
Right.
And Overwatch is that on a much smaller scale, but it is shifting in that direction. And we all know how much live service games love mimicking Fortnite. For better or worse, for them
for worse, for the worst. Trust me, for the worst. I have nothing good that I can say about any game copying Fortnite.
I think Overwatch is knowingly and willingly diving head first into following the path of Fortnite, even though we are seeing in real time that strategy is killing Fortnite itself.
Yeah. I mean,
Overwatch, though, is again, smaller scale, much farther back on that track of Sudoku, if you want to call it that.
The road to hell.
Yeah. And the Stadium approach is interesting. I think Stadium is definitely worth talking about, because I don't have a great gauge. I feel, as someone who's been covering Overwatch since effectively the day it launched, like within the first year of Overwatch's life, I started seriously making Overwatch content and then, went on to stream and stuff like that. Throughout that whole time, I've always had a fairly good gauge on the game itself and the community because I'm so invested in it. Every day I think about it and I'm involved with, groups of people that are also invested in it. So I have a pretty good idea of what the average Overwatch player is feeling and sentiments toward things. But Stadium is different because I don't feel like I have a great sense of people's perspective on Stadium because it feels like it's just a different group of people, basically. Yeah. There's the Overwatch players, which I've always been and are still playing quick play, competitive, even arcade, and mystery heroes and whatnot. And then there's Stadium. And Stadium is just a new separate thing that has pulled a lot of people from the core Overwatch experience, but has maybe also brought in new people, but I don't really know. And depending on who you ask, people will either love or hate or be totally indifferent towards Stadium. And it makes it for someone like me harder to track the overall sentiment of the Overwatch community and how people feel about the game because you now have something that's so fundamentally different from what I've been used to and am more in touch with. And I don't really know how to assess it in that sort of regard.
Yeah.
Because I'll get people on my most recent stream, they just added Tracer to Stadium in the mid-season. And I got people asking me oh, how's Tracer in Stadium? Have you played Tracer in Stadium? And I'm like, no, I haven't played Tracer in Stadium because I don't play Stadium.
Right.
And it's a weird question for me because it's it's like if somebody came in and asked if I played the new Marvel Rivals character. I don't play Marvel Rivals. I don't know shit about the new characters. Fair. I understand. It's not to criticize people who are asking me stuff like that because obviously people, are just curious about things, and it's not like they should know the rules. I don't play Rivals. I don't play no. If they ask me something like that, that's fine. I don't have an issue with people asking me that. But from my perspective, in terms of trying to answer a question that someone on a stream asks me, it's I don't know shit about Stadium. I don't know how Tracer is. Right. I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't, and I never will. Right. Because I don't care about Stadium. So it's so weird because I've never quite been in that position where someone can ask me a direct thing about Overwatch, and I feel so detached from even being able to answer said question. It's a very because it's basically just a different game.
Yeah. I think this is a very good place for me to kind of put in my thoughts about Stadium because what a lot of people have said is very confusing is you hate perks but you like Stadium? What? And yeah, I hate perks but I like Stadium because to me it's exactly what you say. Stadium is just it's just a different game. It's just Overwatch deciding to add on a new game that's a different genre. Yeah, chill. Because to me, because ever since perks have been added to Overwatch, I can't take that game seriously anymore. I'm I'll go into competitive and fuck around because none of this matters anymore. It's not competitive. It's not balanced. It just shit's happening. It's basically total mayhem. So I don't give a shit anymore about the balance aspect, and so Stadium appeals to me more because it's just what base Overwatch seems to want to be, but they're just going all in on it. It's just a completely different thing, and that's cool. It's fun. It's kind. I get to make a build. It's kind of wild and wacky. That's fun. That's cool. And because the problem I have with perks is that I look at it and I'm why are you in base game Overwatch? If this was its own thing, that would be cool. why are you infecting base game Overwatch? Like, why have you defiled it like this? Why have you defiled it so? And so it's like, because the problem I find myself with Perks is I'm like, it's Overwatch trying to not be Overwatch. But it's still Overwatch, it's just kind of bastardizing itself. I look at Stadium, and I think to myself, this could be a completely different game with like a completely different IP, and like it would be no different. Basically, it's a coat of paint. It's because it's so fundamentally different. So like, okay, chill. Okay, that's fine. It's not trying to be Overwatch. It's trying to be something else, and that's it's sort of the same thing as why I have a problem with Halo Infinite. To go on to branch off to something kind of wacky. The reason I hate Halo Infinite, one of the big reasons, is because it so badly wants to be a Bungie game. It so badly wants to be one of the original Bungie games, and in doing so, it just defiles the legacy of the Bungie games. And that's sort of my issue with Perks, is like, Perks want to make Overwatch different and are just fucking up Overwatch in doing so. Meanwhile, Stadium is unconcerned with that. Stadium is fine with being its own thing. I'm fine with it being its own thing because it's not trying to replace Overwatch. And so I think that's my thoughts on Stadium.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. I think the it being its own thing is something where I've thought about, like, why is this even Overwatch?
Yeah. No,
like
100%.
I again, it's like, I can't help but feel like Blizzard has kind of just taken this annoying, like, middle of the road approach where they're like, Stadium has to be part of Overwatch, instead of just making a standalone game called Overwatch Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just Stadium. I mean, you call it whatever the hell you want. It can still be set in the Overwatch universe. But just, like, make it its own separate game so that you're completely detached from having to have crossover, where it's like, oh, Tracer does X damage per bullet in base Overwatch, but in Stadium, she does Y number of damage per bullet. Like, you don't have to worry about that shit. You don't have to worry about inconsistencies if you're just like, no, these are two separate games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about, oh, is every Overwatch hero one day going to come to Stadium? No, because you can just have your own characters in Stadium and not worry about whether or not they're in the original. You could have original characters that only exist in Stadium that can be designed to work in Stadium, but maybe wouldn't work in base Overwatch, and vice versa.
Is this how I finally get playable Max?
Maybe. Like, yeah, stuff like that. Like, it feels like they're just handicapping themselves by insisting on Stadium being an extension of Overwatch instead of it just being its own game, also set in the Overwatch universe. Like, why did they do it this way? I think the reason they did it this way is because, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of factors, realistically. I bet, like, internally, when it comes to, like, designing a game, they couldn't just say to now Microsoft, like, hey, we want to make a brand new game with the shared IP, but it's a brand new game. Like, I'm sure development-wise, there would be huge differences between doing it that way versus how they are doing it.
Yeah.
And I think there'd also be a player sentiment of like, oh, Overwatch 2 sucks, and you're trying to just abandon it to start a new game. Like, I think it would be perceived differently by a lot of people if they did it that way, as opposed to just expanding Overwatch 2 to have Stadium.
In fairness, that's how I would look at it.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people would look at it. It would be like, oh, they're just jumping ship, they're ditching the game, and now they're just insisting on doing Stadium as a separate thing, even though that is effectively what they are doing.
Yeah, they are.
They're just cannibalizing Overwatch, like, directly in the process.
Yeah.
In this scenario, because they're like, we're gonna live in the carcass of this thing that we messed up, while we fester this new alien life form. Like, it's weird, and it feels like an imperfect in between, where again, it's like they have to take this middle road that doesn't, like, satisfy or properly sufficiently cater to either side. and it's kind of frustrating to see them do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, and that seems like a thing with a lot of games. A lot of games either don't know where they want to go, or they've just decided, fuck it, we'll chase a trend. And I think a number of games have done this. Halo Infinite has done this. Obviously, Overwatch has done this. I don't know anything about Marvel Rivals, so I can't say shit about that. And I mean, Fortnite is the trend, so yeah, I can't really comment on that. But it's a pattern that you see. That it seems like a lot of online multiplayer games either don't know what they want to become because, like, let's be honest, everyone is getting slightly sick of them, or they just kind of, I don't know, they just kind of throw shit at the wall, and that seems to be how things are.
I don't know. I think it is kind of to try and tie it all back, because I feel like this episode has been all over the place. But I think it really is just ties back to the idea of just throwing shit and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, you always need.
And I think a lot of games are like that. It's like more important that shit is in the process of being thrown than having something that sticks really good to the wall. You know,
it's more important that you jangle the keys than you provide a good game. Like, genuinely.
Yes.
That's sort of what I think. That's
like the code of gacha games, which are the absolute hell of a game.
Oh, yeah. No, like, gacha games are the worst version of this. 100%. And, I feel like this is simultaneously unsustainable, but like it's also going to get so much worse. Because
almost certainly,
because I've mentioned this to you guys before, but one of the biggest frustrations I have is that I look at a modern game like Overwatch, and what I think to myself is, my God, we have been gaslit into thinking this is acceptable. We have been convinced, like, so many people have been convinced that, like, this is normal, this is okay, that, like, it's okay for the bar to be in hell like this. Like, everyone just consumes the slop and are convinced that it's good. It's insanity. Because I look back on, especially, Halo, I would say, like, Halo 1 through 4. And I look at that and I go, damn, I can still boot up Halo 2 on my PC, and it's still as good as it was over 20 years ago. And that we had standards. Like, a game had to do something. It had to be about something. It had to want to present an idea that people would actually, like, a foundational idea that people would be attracted to. I mean, that's what made Overwatch originally so amazing. Like, people saw the idea and, like, the vibe of Overwatch and were like, oh, that's fundamentally really sick. Like, everyone needs to play this. I mean, we all remember this. We all remember those early days. Well, you and I do. The community has changed so much at this point that a lot of people don't. But it's just so different because I especially with stuff like cosmetics. And this goes back to what you've said about these games are products now. They have no soul. They're just meant there to sit there and sell you cosmetics. Because I think about even going back to Halo 5, which was like the beginning of the descent into madness, because that was the first Halo game with microtransactions. I remember that there was a certain armor that to get, you needed to beat every previous FPS Halo game on the highest difficulty. And I did it. I was like, I need this armor. I need to be able to show people that I did this. And I did it, and not only was I satisfied that I accomplished this thing, like, I beat every Halo FPS game on the highest difficulty. That's awesome. But I also get this sick-looking armor that I can be like, hey guys, look at me. I beat every Halo FPS game on the highest difficulty. And it's just like, this barely exists anymore. Like, Overwatch has it with achievement sprays, but like, whoop-de-doo. It's you know, when you would play Halo 3 and you saw a guy with the recon helmet, you went, oh man, that guy that's the guy. Like, he's the scariest guy in this lobby. Because the way you got that helmet was like, you had to, I'm trying to remember what it was. You had to beat a developer, I think. You had to beat one of the devs in just like a random matchmaking lobby. I think that's what it was. And like, that was cool. Or like, I think Hayabusa was the skin, was the armor, where you had to do something insane. But like, you saw these armors, and you're like, oh, that person accomplished something. Like, the fact that they have that armor says something about them as a player. Like, you can tell, you can look at someone's player character and be like, I can see what you've accomplished. Like, you played this game. Congratulations, you have interacted with the game. And nowadays, I go into Overwatch, and I'm like, alright, what are they trying to scam me out of this time? And it's like, it's some skin that looks good, but I'm just like, I'm never paying $10 for this. Go fuck yourself. Like, it's just, I would be like, if this was like maybe $1.50, maybe I'd consider it. But like, you're charging me $10 for that? Like, what? It looks cool, sure, but it means nothing to me. I have no attachment to this. It's just a cosmetic, and sure, it's cool. You know, look at me. I have the fancy Rhine skin. What? Okay, what did you do to do that? You pulled out your wallet. What have you didn't interact with the game. You literally didn't play the game. It's just, the fact that this is considered acceptable is mind-boggling to me. That the fact that this is considered the standard now is mind-boggling to me. That people are just like, ah yes, the slop, the delicious, delicious slop. I must pull out my wallet and purchase the slop. It's just like, and I understand that not everyone is like that. And frankly, I don't even necessarily fault the people who do feel that way, because like, yeah, you're just existing within the ecosystem. You know, I can't hate you for that. It's just the fact that we have reached this point, and the fact that, like, as far as I can tell, it seems like it's probably going to stay this way for at least a little longer. It's just insanity to me.
I mean, the only thing that could end it would be like a massive cultural shift, like a crash, basically.
Yeah. Of
the gaming sphere, which, I don't know, that's always interesting to think about. Like, could we see another gaming crash? Because, you know, crashes are a thing that happen. Yeah. Like, not even just in gaming, but like in general is like a thing. Markets crash.
I was literally just going to say, I think if the economy declines in the way, like the global economy, to go into geopolitics, I think if the global economy starts to kind of sink, like the way that so many people are predicting, like that could do it. I'm not going to lie to you. If people don't have the money to spend.
Yeah, it could very well be that. There's a lot of things that could, you know, trigger it. It's, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we like get out of this, because we are very much sunk into exactly what you said. just the shit.
We
To put it that way.
the term you always hear is "inshitification." We
Yeah.
are
No, that's exactly
thoroughly
it.
inshitified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You're deeply enshitted.
we have found ourselves deeply enshitted, and it's not that I don't feel like there will be a cultural change eventually, because, like, let's be honest, as I said before, yeah, people are getting sick of this. Like, 100% people are getting sick of this. And I think this is exactly part of why you feel like things are on the decline. Because a lot of people feel like it's on the decline. It's not just you. I think that's the first sign that this isn't sustainable. Because you can ask around, like, let's be honest, ask around, ask 100 gamers who play online multiplayer games, and I would guess at least 50% of them would say, yeah, no, this shit ain't sustainable. Like, this is gonna crash. So, I have faith that we'll eventually get out of this, but it's so bad. It's so bad. And, like, we're gonna suffer for it until it gets better.
It is sad. And, you know, like, I'm someone who obviously is always out there buying the new Kiriko skins, so it's like, how much can I even really talk and complain when I'm out there enabling it? But
I mean,
it's just a shift of things. It's the game is not even the game. All games are just shifting into a
enshittification.
Profit.
Yeah,
a profit state.
Yeah, I mean,
and that includes enshittifying.
It's all enshittification. I mean, as I said, I don't hold that against you that you buy the Kiriko skins. Like, you're just existing in the system. Like, okay, like I am aware that, like, I am a bit of a weirdo in the fact that I put my foot down and I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna go play Halo 2. Because, like, I don't expect people to do that. I don't think that's reasonable. People want to do the new thing. I think that's okay. It's just, I don't, and I say that knowing very well that, like, I have just ranted and raved about how bad it is that we jingle the keys, that we have the keys jangled in front of our face constantly. Like, I don't have a problem. I don't blame the people who see the keys jangled in front of their face and are like, okay, yeah, fair. Sure, I'll try it. It's the fact that we're being, like, subjected to this in the first place. It sucks. And I think this is now that we are deeply depressed in this conversation, I think it's a good time to mention the one game that I personally play regularly that I think is the beacon of hope, which is Deep Rock Galactic. And I'm aware that Deep Rock Galactic is different. It's not a PvP game. It is an online multiplayer game, but it's PvE exclusively. It's not PvP. But I think that Deep Rock Galactic is such a pillar of hope because it's not free to play. The company sustains itself primarily off of you buying the game, and anyone who has heard of Deep Rock Galactic, I don't think I need to explain its reputation. Like, Deep Rock Galactic, even people who, like, don't necessarily play Deep Rock Galactic but know a decent amount about it, like, they respect the game. And it's a game that it's just so much better than than like I think anyone ever expected it to be, because it just nails everything, or almost everything. It's obviously not a perfect game. No perfect game exists, but it's a game where you just buy the game, which I know I can't believe that's crazy nowadays, but you just buy the game, and there's no need to purchase anything. You can if you want, but it's just like fun cosmetics to support the devs, and you just have this fun game that you can play with your friends. It's just goofy fun. There's definitely a skill curve. There is a reward in terms of, like, not just cosmetics, but, like, personal accomplishment to getting better at the game. And the vibes are just immaculate. Like, how else can I put it? Like, anyone who has played a lot of DRG, or even just like a little bit of DRG, knows that like the DRG community is so chill, and which is something that I think the modern, honestly, even before the modern, but especially now, like the modern environment with like online multiplayer games incentivizes toxicity so heavily. Like, it's people, like, let's be honest, we have all ran into way more people who act straight up sociopathic in Overwatch than we want to admit.
Yeah.
And I think the environment just encourages that. And I think it does that more than ever. But you have DRG, you have Deep Rock Galactic, where it's just like, rock and stone, everyone grab a drink, rock and stone, let's go shoot some bugs, rock and stone. It's just like, it's all fun, it's all goofy. You know, you might have that one teammate who's a bit of an ass, but like, you know, if they're being toxic, you know, everyone just spams in chat rock and stone. Like, it's just it's the vibes are so good. And I think DRG, especially because, as you've mentioned, it's an indie company. It's an indie game. It's, you know, art is preserved primarily these days, and I agree, through indie games. And I sincerely hope that, considering how successful Deep Rock Galactic has been, and how sick people are starting to get of the modern kind of system or environment that we're in with like free-to-play games, I hope that people start turning to games like DRG to be like, this game is not a game like Halo 2, because obviously you can never repeat the past, but it takes the good things about those earlier days of gaming and takes the good things about the modern gaming environment, and it puts them together, and like, it's a bit of both, and it works really well. And I think that's something that I hope the gaming industry, especially like multiplayer online games, starts to at least move towards adopting. Because obviously I don't expect it to, you know, it's all changed, but I have hope that by kind of like reflecting on what the industry is like now, and by looking at what made the past games so good, that we can like find not returning to the past, but a more informed future, I guess. That's the way I would put it. And I know that despite what you claimed for so many years about being an optimist, it's not it's not so true anymore usually. But
yeah,
I'm someone who, well, how does it go? If I don't laugh, it will destroy me. It's like that's how I am.
Don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah, if I don't laugh, it will be the ruin of me. And it's so like, I have to be optimistic, or else I'm gonna lose my mind. And I think there's reason to be optimistic with this environment, this gaming environment. But man, it sucks right now. We're in the shitter.
We just have to see how much worse it gets.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how much worse it gets. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. Marvel Rivals, I don't know anything about, and I think you know minimal about, so maybe we can't really talk too much about it.
Dead game.
Yeah, I don't think we can talk too much about it. But I would be. You've kind of touched on Fortnite, and I think the last thing I would say about Fortnite is like, I don't hate Fortnite, but like, God, do I hate what it represents. I hate what it's done. Because to me, the Fortnite model is exactly what has ruined the industry. And obviously I can't like, I don't think who makes the games? Riot or something? Or who makes it?
Epic Games.
Epic Games. Epic. Oh, I get them mixed up. Epic Games. Um, I don't think Epic Games went in like, oh boy, let's just like create a chaotic, like, let's just create something that is going to spread and be generally bad. I obviously it's a business model. I don't think they went into it being like, oh, let's just start something that will spread in shitification. But I hate that it's what everyone has adopted, because it was kind of the genesis of a lot of what I've talked about. And I don't have any problems with people who play the game. Like, it, I'm not one of those weirdos who's like, ew, you play Fortnite? I don't give a shit. But it's like, I think the fact that it's a game that has kind of made a name for itself as being more of like an advertising platform for some random shit than being its own game. Because like Fortnite is all about the crossovers, right? As far as I can tell, it's like,
at this point, very much.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like,
it's so interesting too. Just, I mean, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
What you were saying. I mean, to comment on like the what would you call it? Like the advertising platform of it.
Yeah.
I had such a fascinating interaction with someone when I was most recently at NandesuCon.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
A month ago. It's an anime convention, basically. I was talking to a guy that I just happened to like meet there, and he's a teacher who I gauged was probably around like 40, maybe late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And like we happened to be talking about like, kids and their like understanding of like anime and like cartoons that like people, like older people like myself, yourself, him would have like experienced as kids. So things like Avatar, things like Dragon Ball, and like different like shows like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as a teacher, he had this really interesting comment. He was like, he notices a correlation between an anime or a show or an IP appearing in Fortnite and his students, who I'm pretty sure were like middle school to high school range, like suddenly becoming interested in that and like learning about that for the first time.
Oh yeah, I believe
Because he
it.
specifically mentioned like Avatar and Dragon Ball were like two that he'd like observed, where it's like they were added as collabs to Fortnite, and then suddenly his students became aware of those as a thing.
Yeah, I
totally
believe it.
I thought that was so interesting, because that's just like straight confirmation that Fortnite is effective as a marketing platform.
Yeah,
where it's like you add a collab to Fortnite, and then suddenly so many more people become aware of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's exactly what it is. It's a platform for advertising things, and we've seen what they've been doing with Disney specifically.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
And I mean, you have to ask the question: is the game more of a game or an advertising platform at this point? Is what is left of the game? How far has it shipped of Theseus itself to be an advertising platform?
You could compare it to like a YouTube channel, even my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, you're having a video there because you want to make a video, or you want to say something, or you want to show off something. But then you have ads there, and you can look at it where it's like from the business perspective of it is you make money by selling ads, and you are able to sell those ads by having interesting content that people want to engage with. It's a tale as old as media has existed.
Yep.
It's how TV has worked for decades. And now it's just that again, but in a gaming format, where it's like you're there to play the game that's fun. Oh, but you're actually being sold all these things. Not even just being sold skins by the game itself, but you're being sold other IPs and products. And especially now that, Fortnite has like Nike and like all these other sort of like genuinely just product type collabs.
Yeah, just brands.
Yes. Like that's absolutely what it is. which, you know, is a whole other facet of just modern gaming, where it's like it's followed the trends of cable television and the like, where it's now become a platform to sell you things more so than it is an experience to be enjoyed.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. And I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is Overwatch. Like, I personally am not super concerned about this, but I see people who are like, is Overwatch like cannibalizing its own identity to just become a Fortnite-esque, crossover machine? I don't think we've reached that point. I certainly think we're closer to that than we've been in the past, because collabs didn't used to be a thing. But because that's sort of the criticism, one of the big criticisms I have of Fortnite, because I look at it and I'm like, what is Fortnite at this point? Is it a game? I don't know if it's a game. Yeah, I don't know. But because with Overwatch, yeah, they have a lot of collabs, but I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea who the hell was like, oh yeah, we can totally sell the G.I. Joe IP by having a Overwatch collab. Like, an Overwatch collab is not going to revive the G.I. Joe IP. So I think it's slightly more benevolent in Overwatch, because obviously people are going to get more interested in it, but save for like weird... What was the one with Diva? It was like a car company or something. Porsche. Like, other than like weird shit like that, where like I still laugh at that because I'm like, who the fuck is playing Overwatch who is like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a Porsche, like, which I think is ludicrous. Like, who do you think plays this game? But I aside from like stuff like that, I feel like stuff like the Persona collab it's pretty benevolent. It's just fun. I don't know much about Persona. The most I know about Persona is that Joker's up tilt in Smash Bros. Ultimate gives me a stroke, as does his down special, but that's sort of where my knowledge of the series begins and ends. But like, I think it's interesting that Wu Yang is the is Joker. Okay, I mean, I don't know anything about Wu Yang. I think he's another one of those Overwatch heroes where it's like, oh, especially Overwatch 2 heroes where it's like, oh, it's just like a guy. But that's a different conversation. But I don't think it's as economically and marketing wise compromising as what Fortnite does, but I can understand people who are concerned. That's sort of my thoughts on that. But that's something I wanted to bring up because I've heard people talk about it.
I was thinking, I was wondering whether collabs would be like worth their own episode to talk about, and realistically, they probably would be.
We probably can do one, yeah.
But I do think it's worth mentioning that I think collabs are like an addiction. I think they're objectively bad for both the game and the gamer.
Okay.
But they feel so good.
Okay.
Like, they're... I don't know if I even want to say that they're part of the enshittification.
I don't think they are.
They're definitely adjacent.
Yeah, they're adjacent.
Because I look at what the two things which garner more hype than anything else in Overwatch. Anything else, these days at least. The two things that garner hype, unlike anything else, are new heroes and collabs.
Yep.
And the fact that collabs are comparable to new heroes in terms of hype makes me feel really, really unwell.
Nervous. No, I understand.
Because it's like, you're not celebrating
Overwatch.
you're not celebrating Overwatch. You're celebrating the colonization of Overwatch by an external entity.
Colonization. I guess it's not technically wrong.
Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You have Overwatch. It's quaint little near future sci-fi omnic oppression world. It's set up with characters and everything.
Plus the one Eldritch guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have the stories there, the characters there, the game itself, the mechanics, all that. And then it's being invaded by external IPs. And everyone cheers for it because they love the invader.
Oh my god, we're gonna get into historical geopolitics.
It's like you're living in pre-Columbus America, and you see those ships come sailing in, and you cheer because you love England.
Well, it would be more like you love the whatever products England is coming to trade, right? It'd be more something like that.
I don't even think so. Like, in this case, I mean, okay, I guess that's probably the more realistic.
Yeah, that's what it actually was.
Parallel. But it's like, it's like, oh man, I love Persona, so I am so glad that it's colonizing Overwatch. Like, it's weird.
That's why I don't think that parallel quite works, but yeah.
But at the same time, like, I love it. The Avatar collab was one of the coolest things I think has ever happened in the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed. Like, if they fulfilled my dream and put Bloodborne Hunter Junker Queen in Overwatch, yeah, fuck it. I'll pull out the wallet for that one. Okay, sure. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But it feels wicked. Like, that you're just hinging on these other things because, like, and at the same time, if you think about Overwatch, if Overwatch were to collab with Fortnite, let's just say as an example,
and they
brought Kiriko and Tracer and Genji to Fortnite, everyone would still be cheering because it's like, oh, I love Overwatch, I love Kiriko, I love Genji. Like, it's so bizarre because it's just like a big circle.
Yeah.
People celebrate Persona coming to Overwatch. They'd celebrate Overwatch going to Fortnite. They would celebrate Fortnite going to Persona in some bizarro universe where that might happen. Like imagine if there was a new G.I. Joe series where G.I. Joe, the team, teams up with Tracer and Winston and Genji and Mercy.
I would think that's stupid.
You would think that's stupid, but there would be so many people who would lose their mind with excitement. And it's like, it's just a circle. Like, nothing new is being created.
The circle jerk continues.
You're just churning IPs, and everyone is losing their minds with excitement. And it's like, this doesn't feel sustainable because nothing is being created. It's like you're shifting the characters and the identities around in a circle, and it feels wicked. Everyone is having a blast with it. The players love it. The companies are making massive bucks on both sides. Both the people, both Overwatch and Persona are making big bucks because of how they, work out these deals. Players are happy, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, where is the catch? There has to be a catch.
Yeah,
you can't just have an infinite hype glitch like this. Like,
there's a catch. Yeah. It's the integrity of the game.
Yeah, and it's like, how long is this sustainable? Because the other thing is, like, this also suggests we've reached like a cultural stagnation point where you don't need to make anything new because you can just recycle things that have already been created. And those are as good, if not better, than creating something new.
Listen,
and that, to me, at least as a person who likes to create things and likes new things when they come about, sees that as a terrifying position to be in.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And this may be a lot of, like, over dramatic, like, hyperbole of, collabs and having a Persona collab in Overwatch, which, for the record, I like the Persona collab. I've liked basically every collab they've done. But it feels like an addiction. It's like, yes, that donut tastes delicious. Yes, the soda is sweet and refreshing. Yes, the beer is a nice thing to have in the alley after work. But, like, it's
Moderation.
not good for you.
Moderation.
Sure, moderation. You could argue moderation, but at the end of the day, it's still a vice, and it's like, should we be more worried about this than people are?
I mean, personally, my thoughts is that, it only becomes bad after I finally get Mithra Alari.
No, I mean, okay, see, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I'm literally in that boat. We have Suki Kiriko. I don't care about anything else. I
got mine. It's fine if it dies now.
I've got mine. I don't I'm good, bro. I don't need these other things. It's like I've already won.
Yeah.
I've already won. I don't care. I don't have to play the game anymore. I've already won. And
yeah,
it's selfish to say that because I may have Suki Kiriko, but somebody else out there doesn't have I don't know, Harry Potter Wooyong, if that's what they want.
No, I get it.
It's like, I can't just say, okay, we're done with collabs because we have the thing I want, because somebody else hasn't gotten the thing they want yet. And it's just a revolving door until ideally everybody gets what they want. But realistically, that's
impossible.
Happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the excuse to keep revolving the door, because there will always be more people who want it. More people will get hyped because the person who didn't care about Avatar loves Persona, and the person who doesn't care about Persona loves G.I. Joe or Transformers. It's just an endless circle. Yeah. An eternal circle. And it's scary because it feels like it's wicked. And I'm just waiting for the demon to rear its head, whatever that may be.
Yeah, no,
because this doesn't feel sustainable.
I get it. I mean, I'm someone who my general thoughts on we always need to be creating something new, yada yada. It's yeah, but you don't want to kind of forget the past either. So I'm someone who is generally okay with the idea of are we technically creating something entirely new? No, but it's a fresh take on something, so that's okay. I'm someone who is more something like a collab in moderation, where it's celebrating something established, is not necessarily a bad thing. It just can't be the focus. And I think that does have the possibility to become a problem, because as you said, the idea that a collab is almost as exciting as a new hero, yeah, I do see how that could become a problem in the long term, because at that point, what are we getting out of this game?
And I would say at this point, if you were to somehow be able to quantify hype, I think collabs collectively net more hype than new heroes for the game at this point, without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, I would also
because
argue...
there's at least one collab per season, whereas heroes are every other season. And just observing the amount of hype for a collab every time it happens, the Persona collab got more hype than Freya. Without a shadow of a doubt.
But I mean, I was just going to say, I think the problem is also that the last few heroes have been boring. But
that's not going to change is the issue. They're not going to make new heroes interesting again, because they need to be templates that they can impose collabs on.
Yeah, I suppose it's true. Because I look at Wu Yang, and I look at Freya, and to a lesser extent I look at Hazard, and I'm they're just people with details added to them. I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a load of personality to it. I know that we make the joke that without his skates, Lucio is just a civilian, but Lucio, it's Lucio at least has a lot of soul to him. He's a character, Lucio's Lucio. As much as I don't like Lucio as a hero, I like Lucio as a character. It's just that doesn't happen anymore. Hazard is Scottish, that's fun. I don't know what anyone likes Freya for, and Wu Yang...
I don't think anyone does like Freya, that's the thing.
And Wu Yang is is a waterbender for some reason. Apparently, there's also firebenders. I don't know. Like it's taken the piss. It feels like, and it's just sort of, yeah. I feel like another big problem is just that like the new heroes are underwhelming. And I'm sorry to do this to you, Ian, but I think Juno very much fits under that. I find Juno incredibly annoying more than interesting. So, yeah.
No, I definitely get that. Like, I think Juno. I feel like Juno kind of fell off.
Juno was interesting to me in like the why are they taking the piss and making a Martian character all of a sudden? Like when did this become a thing? It just sort of gradually became like, why is she so annoying? Like why is she so like ditzy to the point that like I fear that she might not be mentally well.
It's like you're not like
it's obnoxious. It's like infantilizing. Yeah. It's really annoying.
No, it definitely is. That's an issue that I've seen a lot of people bring up about her character, and at this point I do tend to agree with that. She doesn't feel like a real person.
She doesn't feel like an adult. It's
100%
kind of troubling.
Like an adult.
Especially with that with the design that she has. It's like a little
Yeah, no, I very much agree. And like that's a case where I'm like I am fully 100% comfortable with blaming Blizzard for that one. It's like if you're going to be like, "Oh, this character is the mind of a child and you're looking at her butt." It's like, well, Blizzard designed a character with the mind of a child and a butt like that, so who's really to blame?
Yeah. No, yeah. Yep. Welcome to the enshittification. So, Okay, I guess that's collabs. there's collabs.
And I think collabs, I think that can be brought into, even outside of Overwatch. I think that applies to everything. I'm seeing a lot of people with that same sort of like collab fatigue sentiment for Fortnite specifically, because they're like really doubling down on collabs at this point. It's like the majority of the content added to the game and cosmetics at this point are basically just collabs. And like people are so tired of it. And we see that in other games as well. Call of Duty has like a ton of collabs now at this point. It's just it's become the thing that obviously makes a ton of money and gets a ton of hype for things.
Yep.
But already I think we're seeing fatigue in a lot of areas where it's like, okay, it's cool because it feels like a novelty. The way having like a donut or a beer feels like a novelty is like, oh, it's a little treat. Nice. I love that. Mm-hmm. But then it's like when all you eat is donuts, it's like, I want to throw up.
When all you eat is donuts and you don't have a kitsune to regulate your blood sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. I could go into how stupid that is, but that's not the time or place.
We both know that Kiriko is a stupid character.
But remember, that's how it always goes. We either get into a segment where we bitch and moan about Widowmaker, or we bitch and moan about Kiriko.
Yeah,
it always happens. So, yeah, I don't know. Watching your descent into madness, your fucking Stockholm syndrome with that character has been so fascinating. Oh my God, someone needs to write a psychological study on it. Yeah, okay.
A game which like has been like sort of like bumping against my radar recently is Borderlands 4. I don't know if you've ever played any of the Borderlands games.
No.
At all. Okay, because like growing up, I loved Borderlands 1 and especially 2. Oh, I love Borderlands 2. And I think Borderlands is like, for me, the epitome of one of those games that like I just sort of grew out of, but then it just like kept doing its thing. And like the older I get, with each new iteration of Borderlands, I look at it and I'm just like, oh, like I used to love you, but now like you're not. It just gets sad,
Yeah, I understand that. I think as far as official titles go, not fan-made games, I think I'm kind of there with Pokemon. So I understand
Yeah.
what you mean.
Because like the new Borderlands has come out at this point, and like I look at it and I'm like, I don't even want to look into like the characters you can play as, or like the story, or like the villain or anything, because like I just know I just know I'll like cringe a bit and just be like, I'm just a game that, like, 15 years ago, if you were to tell me that like a new Borderlands was coming out, I would be so ecstatic. And at this point, I hear a new Borderlands is coming out, and I'm like actively avoiding information about it because I don't want to feel bad.
Okay, I don't think. Okay, no, actually, I think that's Halo for me, but it's not because I grew out of
Okay.
it. It's more just because Halo killed itself.
I don't know. It's just like, in terms of like games outside of Overwatch that have like somewhat hit my radar recently, Borderlands is like the one specifically that comes to mind, which is why I thought it'd be worth bringing up, because I think it sort of encapsulates my own greater perspective on games in general, which is like kind of just apathetic toward anything new that's coming out.
No, I totally get it. I think for me, it's more of I'm looking for the continuation of the series I already like, and I'm not inherently super interested in anything else. I mean, for example, I'm gonna lose it when the next Soulsborne game is revealed, like the next proper one, not some weird multiplayer thing. I'm gonna I don't know. I'm crazy about The Witcher 4. I'm super excited about that. Chances are I'm gonna be super excited when the next Xenoblade game is announced. So it's yeah. I mean, I get it. It's I think that as as we kind of get older, there is a naturally a part of us that is going to go, damn, why is it suddenly so different? I think it's important to reflect on those thoughts and realize that a change is not necessarily a bad thing and is necessary, but I understand. Obviously what video games you want to play is not of great social, like, societal significance. So, if all you want to do is play old games, more power to you. So I understand. No, I think I understand the apathy of something like that, especially with something like Halo, because for so many years I was so excited whenever a new Halo game came out, but then I saw the announcement for Halo Infinite and my heart sank into my lower intestine. I was like, I know exactly where this is going, and it's not good. And I was correct. I get it. I get it, because now I'm basically entirely apathetic towards this series that I would say was like a defining part of what people knew me for, especially in like high school and stuff. Like I get it. It's crazy to think about that. For you, it's Borderlands. Like how the fuck did we get to the point where I'm apathetic about Borderlands? I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how the fuck am I apathetic about a new Halo game? Like it feels impossible in retrospect. Like if you had told me that, I would say 15 years ago, I mean 15 years ago for sure, but I would say like up to maybe about a decade ago. If you had told me, oh, a new Halo game is coming out, I would have been like, oh, fuck yeah, I gotta see where the story is going. I want to see what they do, yada yada yada. I'm so excited. And now I'm sure they're gonna announce a new Halo game, and it's gonna be nostalgia slop again. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm sure
Nostalgia slop, yeah.
It's
How long until you think Overwatch is gonna like directly I mean, I guess they already have with Classic.
Yeah, but Classic
That's
is
basically
good.
what that
Classic is
Is it?
Yeah, Classic is a banger. They recently announced that Overwatch Classic is coming back for like a month. I think it was like yesterday or something, and I was like, "Oh fuck
Yeah,
yeah!"
I think it's back right now, actually.
Overwatch is now playable. I'm super hyped about it because, as I said towards the beginning of this podcast, like I very much I now know playing Classic previously that like I did. These are not rose tinted glasses that I'm wearing. Like looking at the past, I genuinely just liked that game a lot more, and so I'm excited. I think moderation. That's what I always say about it. I think nostalgia is okay. I think if you sprinkle it in, it's fine. I think that can be rewarding. I hate when Halo does something like pour on the nostalgia bait so thick that it obscures the previous 10 years of the series as like trying to sweep it under the rug. Like that's malicious to me. I don't think, like, to use a Xenoblade example, like bringing back a few past characters from into the new game is like, no, that's cool. If they do it well, that's sick. I'm all for that. But it's I understand that like you can't just pour it on, and I do to a point understand that even with Overwatch, but yeah, no, I'm excited for Classic again. I'll always be excited for Classic.
Well, I'm glad you are, because my own experience with Classic has been like, good God, how did I ever play this game?
That's so interesting to me. That's so interesting to me. Because I play it and I'm like, this was peak. This was gaming. Like, I was actually almost shocked at how much... Like, there was a part of me that was like, okay, there has to be some rose-tinted glasses going on. Like, I'm self-aware enough to know, like, there has to be some aspect of that. But, like, I played Overwatch Classic, like especially the first two, and I was like, there was like the slightest tinge of rose-tinted glasses, but no, this is just so much better. Like I was genuinely shocked by how little it was actually like a rose-tinted glasses effect. So yeah, I would. That's actually something that I think would be interesting to interrogate in another episode, but we're almost at 2 hours, so. And I have to edit this.
Yeah, I understand. I will say, maybe this can be the final thing we touch on. Mm-hmm. Like much earlier, you how Overwatch for you was all about like the text and like the rollouts and stuff.
Doomfist
like Doomfist
was, yeah, and the lore. It was primarily that and lore.
Right. For me, I was gonna say the big like sticking thing for me was the characters and the lore.
Yeah, same
and like that was like the exciting like.
That was
element of it.
Yeah,
that I felt so fixated on.
We were the same.
That has now seemingly decayed.
Yes, we were the same in that.
Where you're talking about like all these texts and rollouts and stuff just like don't exist anymore in the modern Overwatch. Like that's me and like the characters. It's like the characters don't exist anymore.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way about the characters. Yeah.
Yeah, they do exist, but it's like the emphasis and the focus on that sort of thing has shifted so much.
It's mass flanderization.
Yes. Mass flanderization. God, they've really just killed all the characters, haven't they?
There's almost part of me that's like, they didn't get very far with Sigma anyways, so like I'm kind of fine if they don't if this is what he is forever. That's really unfortunate, but like at least I won't have anything to compare it to, because he was always kind of like this. But like I completely get it with like a character like Ana, or a character like a Doomfist. Like it's 100% I get it. Like, oh my god, what have they done? Every character has been reduced to because like obviously Overwatch has always been about, especially early heroes, very much has been based on archetypes. Like 100, like Cassidy is like, or Genji are like the biggest examples of this. But it's I definitely agree that like, oh, it's getting to flanderization levels. Everyone has been boiled down to their trope, I guess. It's not good. Granted, I think, again, with characters like Sigma, the trope is so esoteric that it's kind of hard to call a trope to that has been boiled down to, so I kind of don't mind that as much. But yeah, I stick by my opinion that the last interesting hero that we got was Mauga. Like, in terms of just, like, a character.
Yeah, because after Mauga, it was then Venture.
It was Venture. And Venture's charming, but interesting, not so much.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the most interesting aspect of that is that Mauga, we know, was a character that has existed for years.
Yeah, Sigma was a byproduct. God, talk about a banger of a byproduct. Holy shit.
And so again, that even touches on a whole separate thing, which we've even talked about, and we probably shouldn't because it's not worth the time.
Yeah.
But just like the only good things in Overwatch 2, in terms of like characters and story, are the recycled remnants of things developed in Overwatch 1.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard
who are the best characters? It's Mauga, Ramatra,
yep.
Junker Queen, arguably.
Yep. No, 100%. I would agree with that.
And then outside of that, all the truly new original characters, even including like Kiriko, I would consider a truly new original character. They don't land the same.
No. I've said it so many times before, and I will say it now again. We're never getting another Sigma origin story video.
No, we're never getting another Sigma. We're never getting another Wrecking Ball. Like that, for sure. Like they even said that in that one dev interview.
God,
thing,
that was so bad. Oh, we could do an episode about that. Like the aneurysm that gave me.
And like I'll admit, they probably just happened to word it terribly in that interview.
I think there's a part
but
of
like
that, yeah.
I think it is also true. Like it is definitely still true that we'll never get another Wrecking Ball. We'll never get another Sigma. That's just not going to happen.
We'll never get another Bastion, probably.
Well, no, absolutely not. Well, I dare even say we might never even get another Omnic.
Or definitely no Winstons, definitely no Arisas.
I think the closest to an oddball we might ever get is Jetpack Cat, and that's only because of the nostalgia meme of Jetpack Cat. That is the only reason that might exist as a hero. And even if they do exist as a hero, I guarantee you they won't be remotely as mechanically interesting as Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to be another generic human character that just, lore-wise is the cat.
Yeah, I mean, or like, what's the character that everyone has been schizophrenic about being added for years that isn't Max? I forget what his name is.
Emre?
Emre, yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Emre is going to be probably interesting, but like, that not much beyond that.
No, I think he really is going to be some guy, truthfully.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be any more interesting than Freya.
I think inherently he'll be more interesting than Freya because we've been waiting for this guy for so long, but yeah. I mean, I as I've said, the funniest thing about that Freya animation is that that was actually just about Maximilian.
Right. Yeah, the Freya cinematic was literally about two other heroes that aren't Freya and how much more interesting they are than her.
Yeah, no, like
Maximilian and Emre are both in there, like in their own ways, and like they were the reasons people gave a shit about that cinematic.
No, they stole the show. They stole the show, exactly. Like Maximilian, whenever he's on the screen, steals the show. So that's just sort of how the character is. And part of me honestly thinks that might be a reason that they eventually add Max, because like it's like they have like a character already set up that they know people find intriguing. So,
but I feel like that runs a severe risk of killing the intrigue.
Yeah,
because as soon as you add Max as a character, all that intrigue and hype about like him being a cool character with potential collapses into a state.
Yeah.
It's like
Schrodinger's
it's like quantum
cat.
mechanics. Yeah, it's like he can be anything. It's like what happened with Malga. Like you're in the minority of people who love Malga.
Oh, I adore Malga.
Like I adore him too, but most people hate Malga. They hate him. And a lot of that has to do with the gameplay side of things. But like for years, Malga was this super hyped character that everybody wanted to be a hero. And everyone was speculating was going to be a hero. And now that he is a hero, nobody gives a shit.
That's like Junker Queen.
Junker Queen is a lesser example of the exact same thing. Ramatra is an example of the exact same thing. Characters that have been established and people are excited to be a hero become a hero. And as soon as they do, nobody gives a shit.
Honestly,
because that's just how that thing works.
I think the biggest examples of this are the early days of Sombra and Doomfist.
Oh, yeah.
I think those are the biggest examples.
Yeah, this isn't unique to Overwatch 2.
No.
This is just true, period.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because, like, think about it. You remember those days where everyone was like, oh, shit, Sombra, holy shit. And, I mean, like, I don't think we need to explain how people are thinking about Sombra these days.
Like this could even tap into like storytelling type stuff, because like something that like in my own like endeavors with like writing and stuff, and like, you know, talking with other authors and working with other authors in my writing group and stuff, like something that I always very much stand by, that I get a lot of pushback from other people on, but I am very confident in, is that ambiguity is king in so many aspects of storytelling and world building and character. Like, if you can get away with leaving something ambiguous that doesn't feel like you're just blatantly denying the reader or viewer, player, or whatever information, go with ambiguity. Because then the person will, in their own mind, come up with the coolest thing they can imagine and be satisfied. Whereas if you tell them outright, oh, Malga is a guy with 2 miniguns, one sets him on fire and he has a rampage, like...
Oh, man, I am going to push back on you on this one.
State. Everything collapses into a singular state, and it ceases to be interesting.
Oh man, yeah, I would push back on that, but
but I'm not wrong when you look at heroes.
No, you're not wrong.
All the hype around Sombra, all the hype around Doomfist, all the hype around Malga, Ramatra.
I think it's
and
different.
What happens? They get added, and the interest and excitement of that thing as a mysterious entity of potential collapses into a state and becomes uninteresting.
Yeah, I think it's different with like a storyline, but I agree that like with an Overwatch hero, because the implementation of an Overwatch hero can be annoying to people. I think you're 100% correct. Yeah. Because the second they're added to the game, everyone's thinking about their balance. They're not thinking about, you know, oh, Malga's finally here, holy shit. They're thinking, what he does is annoying. Yeah, no, you're right. That's correct. 100%.
So the answer is to never add new heroes.
I mean, honestly,
never add existing characters as heroes.
You know, I would say that there are a lot of characters I would agree with that for, and there are some I would not. But yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, the risk is always run. It's inherently risky. But I don't know. It's a risk-reward analysis that we could do an entire episode on.
I think you could even apply it to other, like, I think Silksong is probably an example we're going to see of that. Maybe not to the degree of saying, like, oh, Silksong is going to be perceived as bad in the long run or anything. But, like, think about how long people have been giga-hyped for Silksong as a game to come out.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of excitement and potential and anticipation and all of that, the memes, everything. Now that it's out, people are playing it. From my understanding, people seem to really like it, which is always good, that, you know, the game actually does well. But like a year from now, who's going to talk about Silksong? I'm sure it'll still have fans.
Yeah, I was going to say, people are going to talk about Silksong.
But compare it to the cultural state of Silk Song in a pre-release state.
Yeah.
Versus a year or more post-release.
No, I understand, because I was this is kind of a strange little fact about me, but like, I adore specifically Xenoblade 2 for a lot of reasons. That's a long story, but I was like kind of not super invested in Xenoblade 3 because, like, you know, I just kind of looked at it and I was like, okay, it might be interesting. I don't know how it's going to connect to the previous games because that's something that really matters to me, but you know, I'll try it out. And you know, I got around to it, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know. The ending made me borderline crash out because I was like, that's dog shit. So obviously the investment wasn't as high, and so but the letdown was pretty hard. But like, you know, it's I know how that feels, where it's like the expectation versus the reality. And like, thank God for the DLC to Xenoblade 3. It's salvaged that shit so hard, but it's, yeah, no, I understand what you mean. I think,
yeah, the takeaway that I think we could all have from that is that the edging is always better than the nut itself.
Oh God, you had to end on that, didn't you? Oh,
I mean, am I wrong?
I'm not even gonna comment on that. I'm not gonna give that the time of day. Okay. Well, I think we're done with this conversation.
That's probably a good point to wrap up.
Oh dear God. So with that said, I am so thankful for everyone who has been patient with me. If you're listening to this, thank you so much for coming back after all this time. And thanks, Ian, for entertaining me again. So,
of course, it's always fun to come on. I'm glad you're back with a actual computer this time that'll be able to handle all this stuff.
It's a damn nice PC. So it's yeah. I know you value this as like the place where you can say all the things you can't on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's a place where I can yap about things that like I don't have a place otherwise to yap about, which is always nice.
Yeah. So with that, you know, I was gonna say we usually have a closing remark, but I don't know if the nut thing can count.
You could put the nut thing at the beginning as the cold open.
Oh God, yeah, I guess I could.
And then, I don't know how we're gonna sign off this.
All right,
there hasn't been like a coherent enough topic for a sign off.
I mean, Ness never gives something coherent. You don't. It doesn't have to be coherent. So, give us our closing quote, Ian.
And shitification.
And with that, folks, we're signing off. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I actually have ideas for other topics, so within the next couple months, we'll have another episode out. So, thank you for listening, everyone. Thanks, Ian, for being here. And with that said, see you later. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye, everybody.